What's up, folks? We are live. That is a final from Auburn. You're darn right. We got that dub. 66-55. Auburn closes it out with the victory. And man, this was a hard fought game. This is exactly what you thought it was going to be. If you watch the pregame, it's not around the score that we thought it was going to be from that standpoint, but around the margin that we were hoping it was going to be. But I am very excited to see an Auburn dub tonight. Coming in here live, my guy Blake Lane from Up Tempo. What's up, baby?
What's up, Ike? What a win, man. Jalen
Hey,
Williams.
J. Will, ice water in the veins. He has been spectacular this season. If you guys aren't already, man, go ahead and share this video at the War Report and like the video as well. Subscribe to the channel. Um, man, it was a good game. What are your just first reactions to the game? Blake, and just you already said Jay Will, but like, what else are you feeling from this whole situation?
Oh man. I'll be honest with you, man. Our lack of rebounding, uh,
Mm-hmm.
it scared me there in the second half. I felt like we come out flat.
Mm-hmm.
But I truly believe this is what championship teams do.
Yeah.
They find ways to win tough games, and that's a great defensive Texas A&M team, man. What we
Yes.
just watched, they are elite, and Buzz Williams always finds a way to just be that thorn in our side, man.
That is the
And
correct word. He is an annoyance every single time we play them. I'm just like, golly, man, what
and
is going on?
it's always felt like Wade Taylor has been our kryptonite,
Mm,
and this defense stepped up late, and we finally made big shots
yeah.
down the stretch against those guys. And I just thought, as a team, Auburn is coming together, and they're just making that statement that we're not sixth best in the SEC.
Yeah.
We're going to fight for a championship this year, and that was a gritty win right there at home.
Absolutely gritty win. You talked about the rebounding as Dustin joins us here from the Uptempo podcast as well. Rebounding differential in favor of Texas A&M 44-34 overall. Offensive rebounds is where you really saw the differential. Texas A&M 19 offensive boards in that game. Um, just initial reactions before we get into some specifics. Dustin, how you feeling about what you just witnessed? Auburn getting the dub 66-55 at home versus Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean it's just a team that we haven't made the shots down the stretch against previously. It's been everybody knows that Buzz is giving Bruce problems, so that part of it feels good. And again, like kind of like me and you talked about Saturday, I could just see the depth just kind of over 40 minutes. It just wears you down, right? And then I mean Jalen Williams 8 for 10. I kind of think, is it even a close game if he's shooting the ball 15, 16 times? How about Janiah Broom stepping up and making his free throws down the
We
stretch?
will definitely
I
talk
mean,
free throws.
look,
Continue.
like,
You're talking the right stuff right now, sir.
yeah, I
Continue.
mean, like, that part, and then what they end up with 17, 18 turnovers, a season high for them. And I think we ended up with either 11 or 12. So look, just at
They
the
had
free throws. And
19
then it's,
turnovers in this game, actually, to
see,
close it out. 12 for Auburn, 19 for Texas A&M.
yeah. So in a game that we win, tight game down the stretch there, yeah, those are the differences.
Yeah, absolutely. Down the stretch, let's talk about the free throws since you mentioned it. Janai Broom on the game, 8 of 10 from the free throw line.
Let's go.
A lot of those in this, actually all of those in the second half of the game. He didn't score in the first half of the game. In the second half of that game, he only had 10 points in the game, but 8 of them coming from the free throw line. A lot of those coming with less than 4 minutes in the game. Just talk about second half Janai Broom, these first two games in the SEC. I'll start with you, Blake. Second half, Janai Broom's been a different animal. What do you have to say about that young man?
We got to get off his neck in the first half.
Yeah.
I know he has come on in the second half, man, and he's been the difference maker. And you saw him in the second half tonight, late in the game, just getting grimy down in the paint, man, and battling for boards, giving that second effort. I know my buddy celebrates after every play, and I love that. He
Hey,
brings that
listen,
he
man.
brings that energy, man.
When you make a play, you deserve to get a look. That's why I was so mad at those stupid texts in the Arkansas game. But man, let the guys have fun out there, man. It's
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
right.
and
But yeah,
and
continue.
you know, I feel like we we need that dog, man, and
Mm-hmm.
and we've got dogs this year, and guys that down the stretch we can turn to, and they can score the basketball. And I know he didn't shoot it great. And I know the first half Saturday he didn't play well, but back-to-back games he has come out in the second half and he's been a difference maker and he's a leader for this Auburn basketball team.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Second half, Janai Broome. Dustin, what are your thoughts about how he's played, specific tonight? But last two games, he's been a monster in the second half for Auburn.
Yeah, A&M, when they switched up to that zone, it definitely started giving us problems. So we had to just find a way to get points, and those free throws were critical. Man, if he can just, I mean, obviously, if he can do 8 or 10 every night, then we're good. But if he can be anywhere around that, then you're good to go. And I would like to see us get him involved earlier in the first half. That's just the kind of way I look at it. There's no reason for him not to have any points in the first half. So
Took a
look, I
couple
think,
of silly shots in the first half where I was like, I don't know what he's doing right there, but not enough
yeah.
touches to your point in the first half. You got to run your offense through that guy.
Yeah, for sure. And because it seemed like in the last two games, like coming into the second half, it's been a concerted effort where they got into the locker room at halftime and said, oh, okay, we got to get our main guy some points here. So maybe just find a way to get him going a little bit earlier. And then, but overall, like, yeah, this is, and it shows you like he's clutch. It shows you that we're going to be in these big games. We plan on being in games in March, and we know that this is a guy we can go to, and he's going to get the buckets. And hell, apparently he's going to step up to the stripe and knock those down too.
Listen, if Janai Broome is making free throws in the clutch, this is going to be. I say there's a lot of recipes to this. Is a tough team to beat, but yet another one there is when you're getting into a gritty game like this where you're not making your outside shots. I mean, golly, Auburn. Let me just take a look at this on the game from 3 points, which is it's got to be abysmal. 3 points, 5 of 22 on the game, for 22.7%. Like terrible 3-point shooting performance in the game. But when you're able to get the ball inside to a guy like Janai Broome, and he's going to get fouled every now and then, for him to step up and make his free throws, this is the difference between last year's round of 32 exit and potentially going to a Sweet 16 round of 8, Elite 8 type of thing. A guy like that being able to do that while your shooting is in a slump. So really great game by him in the second half there. Want to turn the attention over to another guy who, I will talk about Jay Will last because if we're giving player of the game duties or honors, I think Jalen Williams is going to get that. But a guy who he was really the ignition for the team when they were in some tough times in the first half, defensively making plays, had a couple of silly plays that he's going to have. KD Johnson was so big tonight. 14 points, 4 of 8 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3. Turned down some bad looks from 3 to get better shots for his teammates. He let me make sure I have his stat line correct. Another 2 assists and 2 steals on the night from him in 21 minutes of activity. Talk about what you saw tonight. I'll start with you this time, Dustin, from KD Johnson off of the bench tonight.
Yeah, it seems like he's maturing. I mean, every now and then you're just going to get – that's just what comes with it. Every now and then you're going to get that play. That's just who KD Johnson is. But if you can rein it in for the most part, and this is – I mean, you can go back to several games over his career at Auburn. I think back to the game at Missouri that one year. A similar game to this, right? A dogfight in the 50s scoring for the most part, and he's the guy to come through. And it just seems like over his time at Auburn, he's always that guy. When a lot of people aren't hitting their shot or it's just kind of quiet the Neville, things aren't going our way, who's going to get that steal off the inbound, make that big play, and then obviously the energy he brings. Like the crowd loves it when he's screaming at the ball, getting the crowd pumped up after the big dunk, the big fast break, whatever it is that he just did. So, and then, but now seeing the shot selection improve, seeing the discipline, protecting the basketball for the most part. And like you said, there in the second half, had some opportunities. You thought he was going to pull. He stopped, set up his guys, and we ultimately got good looks out of that. So just the maturity and the progression of his game is fun to watch because having a guy like that off the bench is huge. And then when you get into a game in March, it can be the difference. He can come off the bench and give you 12, 14 points, and it can be the difference.
Bench points for Auburn, 26-6 in favor of the Auburn Tigers in this game. Absolutely amazing job off of the bench.
It's a trend every game.
Yeah, I mean this is why this team is difficult to beat because it's waves, right? Like you have to sub out your best guy and put somebody else in there. Now he's facing somebody who is just as good as the guy we subbed in, right? And so, but they're good at different things, but definitely good. Um, I'll give you an opportunity to talk about whoever you want to off the bench there, but we can definitely continue the conversation about KD Johnson. But Blake, jump in here talking about the Auburn bench tonight.
Well, I want to talk about KD because, like Dustin said in our group chat a couple weeks ago, I said you can just see KD growing up, coming back to Auburn this year, and the shot selection. You can go back and look last year when KD got the ball on the wing. Man, he was shooting it. He was letting it fly, and he would give that little jab step, pump fake, and he wasn't passing it. He was shooting it. There was times where he would dribble drive and he would go into the lane out of control and throw something crazy up. And you're not seeing that this year, man. Like when he drives, I mean, he's looking to dish, man. You saw it late in the game tonight. He's looking to dish. He's looking to find his open teammates, and just him finding his role and saying, "Hey, it doesn't all have to be me. I got guys on this team that can score, and I don't have to be that guy." And that's just the growth, man. The growth of KD and guys knowing their role. CBM.
Mm.
I mean, Chad Baker Mazar is probably one of the best transfer portal pickups in the country.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
the level of defense that he plays. Texas A&M has given us fits for the past 3 years,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that's one of the biggest things. Without CBM tonight, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, the kid, he's a playmaker. He brings the passion on the court. He's a great defender, moves his feet, man. He's a hell of a player, Ike. And those two guys, man, I'm proud of both of them.
Yeah, Chad Baker Mazara, only 2 points tonight, 1 of 6 shooting. Didn't have a great
Mhm.
shooting night, but in his 27 minutes, he was absolutely effective out there for the home team. Love the minutes that he provided to you. He's one of those guys that, in the mold of a Chris Moore, right? Like who they don't have to score to impact the game in
Yep.
meaningful ways. 4 total rebounds for him in this game, only 1 assist. 2 blocked shots and 2 steals, though, and they came in really big moments in the game. He gets a couple of foul calls that are absolutely phantom. I have no idea what the ref is looking at. Every game, you're going to have one where you're like, I don't think that really existed, but okay, sure, whatever. But he absolutely played big minutes. That big block that he had on Wayne Taylor as he's driving into the lane to be able to force that and get the next fast break going, that was absolutely big. If you guys are joining us, we're talking about Auburn defeating Texas A&M 66-55. Great win to go 2-0 in the SEC. Make sure you're doing the necessary, sharing the video at the War Report, at the Uptempo Pod on Twitter out there. Hashtag LAUBtown when y'all are in here. Is it Uptempo Podcast? Right? Is it Uptempo Podcast?
Yeah.
All right, Uptempo Podcast. I'll make sure I correct that on the thing right there. But let's get into the guy, the man of the night, right? The guy who really was the engine for the totality of this game. Jalen Williams, 8 of 10 shooting, only took 10 shots tonight, but big clutch moments. Absolutely, it felt like he dominated this game in a lot of different ways. Let's talk about Jalen Williams. 22 points on the night, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 1 of 2 from the three-point line, and that second one that he took, the biggest one of the night, it really was kind of the dagger that put the gap that you needed right there. When you needed a bucket, he absolutely came through with that. Added another 7 rebounds, 4 blocked shots tonight. Jalen Williams, let's talk about him. Who wants to go first? Anybody? Let's just gush over Jay Will.
Shoot it more. There's no reason you should be 8 of 10 when you can be 12 for 15, or you could even be 14 for 18 or 19 for all I care. If you're going to get this version of Jalen Williams that we've all seen flashes, like everyone that's watched Auburn basketball over the last 3 or 4 years, you know what Jalen Williams is capable of. You're not surprised to see him play like this. So I want to see this. I want to see this Saturday versus LSU. Then I want to see it continue after that. I know Jalen can do this tonight. I know that he can do it the past couple games that he has. I want to see it go all the way for however long we go, and maybe he can make some money at the end of this thing, because me and Blake said it so much last year. Like it's his biggest enemy sometimes is himself. It wasn't tonight, but he's he can do everything. Like, just far as what he can do on the court, he can do everything. And he's figured out his game. He's figured out where he's comfortable. A high IQ player that knows where to be, knows what to do. And then I think I see in the chat people are saying that it's his 100th career win at Auburn. So
Wow.
obviously, like an all-time great in that sense at Auburn, a guy that's helped build this program into what it is. So I'm really hoping that we can at least get him an SEC championship ring and make a long run for him, because he definitely deserves it. But he's going to be a key piece of this team as far as looking at how far we go. If he plays at this level, then the ceiling for this team raises significantly.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to let you talk about him, but how big, as you're starting your comments on J. Will Blake, was him just deciding to come back for his grad year? I mean, good grief,
Huge.
man. Like, it's one of those things where you don't realize, you want him to come back because you're like, man, we're going to miss, just the stability that he brings. He's been enormous for this team so far this year. Talk a little bit about Jalen Williams tonight and so far this season.
If Jalen Williams sees this, you are a superstar.
Yeah.
You're a superstar. All right. Like Dustin said, we have said it for a year now, man. Shoot it, believe in yourself, and know that you are the guy to take this Auburn basketball team back to a Final Four. And he can do that. He's talented, man. And I just think sometimes in his career at Auburn, he kind of shied away from the moment. You would see him last year, man. He would come out in the first half and he'd put 12 on your head. And then in the second half, he would just shy away from the moment.
Yeah.
And now I think you're seeing a guy that needed an extra year of college basketball.
Yeah.
A lot of the things in college basketball is one and done now. And you see those guys get into the league and it takes them a little bit to mature. And Bruce got him to come back and he needed that extra year. And now you're seeing it pay off. The dunk tonight. I mean, boy, I thought Neville was going to explode.
Yeah.
And somebody got a photo from underneath the rim. And I mean, it's cold. It's cold. But just his confidence this year, man, and being able to hit that dagger, shoot it with confidence. And him on the boards. Like, Auburn struggled rebounding, and they've done it for years against Texas A&M. And he's down there with Joe Nye, and look, we're a little undersized, but he gets nasty down in there, and he makes it happen. So I thought Auburn hustled late in the second half. Like I said earlier, they come out at the beginning of the second half, and they were a little shocked and a little slow coming out of the locker room, but they picked it up. Jalen Williams is a leader. Joe Nye is a leader. And I'll tell you another one that I'm impressed with, fellas, and that is Trey Donaldson.
Trey Donaldson we can't talk about this game without talking about the big minutes Trey Donaldson had, but continue.
Man, I just think this team can go as far as they want as long as Jalen Williams is playing that role like he did tonight.
Yeah.
And I seriously mean this. If you get that Jalen Williams, this is an Elite Eight team.
Yeah.
I mean, easily. And it could be a trip to Phoenix, Arizona. And I mean that. I'm not trying to bug. I'm not trying to be a homer with my orange and blue goggles. I think he's that guy, and he's starting to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to go to the chat here for a minute, and then we're going to come back, talk a little bit more about Trey Donaldson and his amazing night that he had for the Tigers. We'll start it off with super chat here from Cleveland Brown. He says, too close for comfort for a while, but we got it done. War damn Eagle. Absolutely feeling that, Cleveland. Thomas Manville jumps in with the super chat and says, let's go, baby. War damn Eagle. Absolutely love it. Appreciate you jumping in here and talking to us. I think everybody's breathing a collective sigh of relief, man. Just had to get that Texas A&M monkey off of our backs, man. It's just so freaking. I hate seeing them come into Neville Arena now. Like, I don't know. They are probably the team I hate the second most in the conference right now, besides the team on the other side of the state, just because I naturally hate them and everything that they do. But they are my second. Like, Arkansas is number 3 right now in teams that I hate, but I think it goes. Those guys, Texas A&M and Arkansas, in my hierarchy of hate. So I just don't really like seeing because they just, man, Buzz. Listen,
that suit.
Shout out to Buzz Williams. He is a guy, he probably does more with less than any coach in the Power Five. I don't know a team that has so few supremely talented players. Like they're good. It's been commented many times. Boots Radford really can only go one way, right? Like he can only really get to his left hand. He's a left-handed player. If you cut that off, you severely limit his ability to score. Wayne Taylor is probably one of the best undersized guards in the country. He had a tough night tonight, but he is an absolute terror on both ends of the floor and just a gritty player. Henry Coleman, absolute beast down low. Like he gets those.
Yep.
I don't know that any of those guys are going to play a single minute of basketball in the NBA.
Yep.
But good grief, he gets them to play way above their heads, bro. Like every year, gritty. They get in there, they get stops, and it's a gritty team. So shout out to Buzz, man. But absolutely wonderful job for the team tonight. We'll get a couple more chats, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about Trey Donaldson and his night. Daniel Owen says, JW coming back, Jalen Williams coming back has turned out to be equal several additional wins this season. Yeah, I agree. Can't say enough good things about Jalen Williams. Chris S. talking about the free throws. We made free throws. Good. Yeah, I mean, overall on the night, I think we might have said this already, but let me make sure I have that here. Free throws on the night, Auburn 21 of 26 for 80.8%. That is going to win you a lot of basketball games in tight games down the stretch. If you can shoot 80% and above, you're going to win some basketball games. TK says, great win for shooting. So bad. Great D and composure gets it done. Yeah, not great shooting from the field, right? Like overall shot 39.2% on 20 of 51 shooting, and again, just 5 of 22 from 3. But when you shoot free throws really well, you play good defense, you're going to give yourself an opportunity to win every single game. An ugly win, 66 points, but you'll take it. Brad Browning says, ugly game by CBM and Trey, in my opinion, but this was a full team, and it takes that to go the distance. JB hit those free throws, speaking of Janai Broom, down the stretch. So I don't know if it was an ugly game for Trey. I won't agree with that. And, again, Chad Baker didn't shoot the ball well, but I think he contributed really well. The players that played poorly to me, Chaney Johnson was rough tonight. Aiden Holloway, after he made those first 2 3-pointers, was rough tonight.
Yep.
Simo played good defense, but offensively he was rough tonight. But this is why you have a team with the kind of depth that you have. You have 3 guys that I just named that played heavy minutes, and all of them had pretty bad games offensively, and you still win a game by 11 points. That's just, I mean, there's not a lot of teams around the country that can say guys that are playing 15-plus minutes have bad games, 3 of them, and you're still winning a game by 11 points, right? So, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit about, I've teased it a couple of times, Trey Donaldson, only 4 points tonight, 1 of 5 shooting, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 6 assists, 2 block shots, 2 steals, but just nope, that was not him, not 2 assists, 2 steals, excuse me. No block shots, no steals, take that back. But 21 minutes of duty right there. His plus minus on the night was 23. He was a plus 23 in his 21 minutes. Dustin, Trey Donaldson. Because, listen, he came into the season and everybody's like, oh, Trey's not going to start and Aiden's going to come in and he's going to be the star of the team and, Trey needs to take a back seat. And he's still not starting, but he's coming off of the bench and closing games for Auburn the way that a veteran – I mean, we're saying veteran. The kid's only a sophomore, right? Like, he doesn't play like a sophomore in a lot of moments. But talk about the night Trey Donaldson had.
Yeah, I might be one of the few people before the season started that was saying, watch Trey to be the starting point guard for this team.
I thought Trey was going to have a breakout year this year.
Yeah.
I watched what he did in the tournament at the end of the year, and I was like, I don't know. Y'all might need to pump your brakes on trying to bench Trey. But anyway, continue, sir.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. He came on at the end of the year, and I've said 100 times, I think we win that second round game of the tournament if we keep Trey in at point guard and don't bench him. But he has, like, when you have that kind of court vision, and we saw that from day one. Like, I just looked at the rest of his game and thought, man, if he could just put the rest of it together, this is elite court vision.
Yeah.
And you see it tonight with him getting to play down the stretch over Aiden, because yes, he was only 1 for 5 shooting the ball, but he makes everybody else around him better. He just makes the team better with his IQ, with his court vision, and he's one of those guys. He's got it figured out now to the point, guys, to where like he can kind of control the game with his dribble, and he's got everything. When he pulls out, slows it down, he's got everything under control. Whatever's about to happen. There was one play where he kind of pulls it out real quick and then goes and slips back under and throws the alley oop to Dylan.
Yeah.
He created that all by himself. Just high IQ play. He's really coming into his own. And look, Aiden has the higher ceiling than Trey, yes, but Trey he can steady the offense. Yeah. He's that guy that can come in and kind of steady the offense when things are kind of helter-skelter all over the place. And then on top of that, you talk about energy with KD and guys like Dylan and all that. He brings it too. You know that he's going to bring that fire. You know he's going to bring that juice. You can you watch him play and you're like, oh yeah, you were a 4-star safety. It's a very interesting combination to watch. My favorite athlete at Auburn right now. I love me some Trey Donaldson.
Yeah. I love him as well. Talk about Trey Donaldson, Blake. What did you think about his game tonight?
One thing I'll say about Trey is I don't think this team is asking Trey to fill it up. I don't think they need Trey to fill it up. I don't think you're going to have those nights where he does, but the court vision is some of the best in college basketball. The kid, like Dustin was saying, his IQ, man, his basketball IQ and the court vision is just unreal. I just down the stretch, you saw tonight, and he got the nod to lead the team, and the way he runs the offense and he finds the open man, and he's one of those. He's a legitimate point guard where he is looking to set his teammates up to score, and it's not about him on the stat sheet. That's what it comes down to with Trey Donaldson, and I just think, man, his defense, for him to come on like he did last year and the way he plays defense this year, he's soon to be a star for the Auburn Tigers. And he's a heck of a player, man. He is. And I think he made the right decision to play basketball.
Yeah. Listen, I won't get into that, but yeah, he definitely, if he had to choose between which coach he was going to be coached by, I think he made that decision properly, considering the trajectory of what happened since he's been on campus here. But listen, man, Trey Donaldson, again, I think sometimes you look at the stat sheet and you say, oh, this guy's not playing well. But when you look at his plus minus again, and I'm not even a big plus minus guy, right? But okay, let's what I am is I look at offensive efficiency and just how well stuff is happening when you're on the court. He still is a positive in the efficiency. Jay Will's a 30 on the efficiency tonight, which is ridiculous. But when he is on the floor, Auburn is a better team when he's out there. And again, that's not a shot at Aiden, right? I think Aiden is a freshman that's going to grow, and as he starts to find better looks at the shot, because he's taking shots that probably aren't great shots, but he's making them sometimes, so it makes you feel a little bit better about him. Once he finds his ability to get to good shots, Aiden is going to be unstoppable because he can shoot from anywhere on the floor. But Trey plays with good pace. He plays good on the defensive end, and he gets other people involved in very great ways. If he can cut down on a couple of the silly turnovers, Trey Donaldson's going to be one of the better point guards in the country. He's already, I think, the best point guard coming off the bench in the country. I don't know that there is a point guard coming off of the bench that's better than Trey Donaldson right now. We'll get another chat in here really quickly because it's just going to key me up to be able to talk about this guy. Dylan Cardwell, 100% approve of the effort. Dylan has improved this year and is helping us tremendously. Dylan Cardwell tonight, just to give you his stat line while we're out here looking at that, was 3 of 3 from the field with 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal on the night. Dylan Cardwell, man, he might be the most improved player on this team this season. Just his ability to catch in traffic is infinitely better than it was last year. He finishes better around the rim. He's shooting free throws better. Still not a great free throw shooter, but you at least feel like you got a chance with him shooting free throws this year. I love every minute. I don't feel Last year, it's like, oh man, Dylan Cardwell minutes coming in. Like, can we just weather this storm? This year, it feels like Dylan Cardwell's in the game. You're not getting easy shots at the rim, buddy. It's just not happening. Um, I don't know who wants to talk about Dylan, man. I love Dylan, man. Of course, the fans love him. Great player. Who wants to? I'll open it up to whoever wants to speak on it.
I'll just say this real quick and kick it to Dustin. When me and Dustin recapped basketball games last year, we always said that all we needed from Dylan was just get us 6 to 8 points, man.
Yeah,
That's it. That's all we need.
he got 6 tonight,
and that's it. We don't need you. We don't need you to be a superstar. All right. Last year, all I remember is when Joe and I would go into foul trouble. He would come in the game and we struggled at the rim, around the rim. And this year, you're seeing a completely different player. And like you said, Ike, with the free throw shooting, we don't need you to go perfect at the line. Hey, if you can step up and hit 1 out of 2, brother, that's all we need. We
yeah,
just need 1 out of 2 from you. We just can't have you up there shacking a fool. So he brings the energy to the team. He brings the energy to the jungle. I mean, around the rim, the shot blocking and everything. And like you mentioned, that his hands, man, his hands grabbing rebounds, the passes from Trey, the lobs from Aiden. He's grown up. He's
yeah,
grown up, and another veteran player for the Auburn Tigers. And check your calendars, folks. In March, when you have veteran players, it pays off. So I'll kick it over to Dustin.
Yeah, Ike, when you talk about just you talk about him getting better than last year, and look, there was a point where you said we had to weather the storm last year, right? You were just like, if we could just get through it. There was a point early in the second half where Bruce benched Janai because he was upset with Janai
yeah,
and put Dylan in. And
yeah,
I remember seeing that and being like, well, that's a big step from last year.
yeah.
Because like you said last year, like please don't we can't afford foul trouble. Remember the game we went to Tennessee
Yes,
and we were like Dylan was sick and somebody I can't remember we were down everybody right and
yeah,
you just didn't have the depth there and the bigs. So it's to see us be to the point now to where we can bench Janai for a second because Bruce kind of wants to get on him a little bit. And then you saw Bruce walk back down the bench. So he was mad
yeah,
and let Janai know something.
Mhm.
And Dylan went out there and held it down. And it's
yeah,
not a fluke because, one, we didn't do the old miss route where you just cupcake it up so you can get the 12-0. We played a real non-conference schedule.
yeah,
And we got a good record and came out of it well, and Dylan played well. And now we're in conference play, and Dylan's playing well. So I believe that this is the Dylan Carwell that you're going to get. And Janai's done a good job of staying out of foul trouble so far for the most part. A lot better, a lot more improved than last year. But you're going to probably find a game with SEC officials where that happens. And when you do, now you're not feeling like you felt last year where you're like, okay, can we just make it through these 5-6 minutes he's on the floor? Now you feel like, okay, there's not a drop off. And tonight it was even, you had to get Janai out to get Dylan out there. So
yeah,
big step up for him, man. Big improvement. And a guy that like you said, the fans love him. You love him because I've seen him at soccer games. Every baseball game me and Blake go to, we see him. Like he's an Auburn guy. So it's good to see him have some success out there on the court. He deserves it.
yeah. He absolutely deserves this great run that they have ahead of them. Looking forward to seeing how this team finishes. Again, Auburn gets the dub tonight versus Texas A&M, 66-55. Any final words from you guys about what we've got coming up? What's the next game that's on the schedule? Let me know.
LSU
LSU.
Saturday at
LSU
2
coming
o'clock.
up. LSU's surprising team so far in the SEC, 2-0. So don't want to look past them. But any final words about the game tonight?
Hell of an effort. Hell of an effort. Gritty. Just one of those games that you finally got over the hump against a team that's giving you fits. So take the momentum, ride out, and just absolutely pummel LSU Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
just hand it to them. They're not as good as you. They've started off hot. I don't think they're a good basketball team. Drum them.
Yeah, I'm with that, Dustin.
Yeah, knew it was going to be a physical contest. Know what this matchup's going to be. We had lost 6-7 to them going in. Buzz is giving Bruce fits, so I think he probably feels good. I'm sure that the players that were on the team last year wanted to get it for him, and it's just another kind of affirmation where I'm watching it and I'm like, hey man, this isn't a fluke. we're a really good basketball team. And I know as Auburn fans, we sometimes we don't want to reach out and grab that hope because we're
Hmm.
scared of getting hurt. And I understand that. I totally get it. But I'm telling you, this is a really good basketball team that, man, I really think that winning that SEC title is a legitimate goal now, and a deep run in March is a legitimate goal now.
Yeah.
And it's like I told you Saturday, Ike, it's fun to sit here and watch these games and not be so caught up in the game. Like tonight felt good, but to look at it and already say, okay, how does this project forward in the big dance? So I see our team just getting better and moving forward. And this is, I know that everybody likes those 85, 90, games where you score 85, 90 points, but that's never going to be a Bruce Pearl versus Buzz matchup, bro. It's just never
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
that.
you've
It's
got to
going to
win
be
games like
this.
this. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's going
have
to
to
be
figure out
this.
how to win these types of games. When A&M closed it to within like 5 minutes to five with like 5 or so minutes left in the game, you're like, okay, here we go.
Hmm.
And they found a way to get stops, and then they got buckets. They got a stop. They got a bucket, and I was just
Yeah,
like, okay, this is the
felt good.
difference between what you saw the last 2 years, really, and what you're seeing this year. Is this team has way more poise, especially on the offensive end, taking better shots, getting good opportunities, not feeling panicked and feeling like we got to go rush. They got good looks that they just missed down the stretch where you're like, oh man, the
Yeah,
corner three that Chad had, I was like, oh, that's gonna be the dagger, and
Yeah.
he misses it. You're like, oh God, like that was the one we
Denver.
needed. And then you get that same opportunity with Jay Will a few minutes later, and he knocks it down. That's the difference in this team, and then it has been in the last couple of years. Very excited about the direction that this team is taking. Very excited about where this team can finish the season when you get wins like this. 36 minutes of talking basketball. Not one time did I call the refs trash, even though they deserved it. Um,
They earned that.
so, but we are going to get out of here. Before we do, guys, tell them where they can check you out. Blake, I will start with you.
Guys, you can go over to the YouTube page at the Uptempo Pod. Check us out there. We're dropping content Friday mornings at 10. We go live Sunday at 3, and we do Tuesday night at 7, all Central Time. So go check us out there. Me and Dustin just pumping out the content, talking Auburn football, basketball, baseball. We're fired up and just glad to be a part of it. Ike.
Absolutely. Dustin, any final words, man?
Yeah, everything Blake said. Well, damn Eagle.
Yes, indeed. All right, we're out of here until the next time. And as always, War Eagle, love y'all. Peace.